Great. And let me just see if I can check out the chat. All right, I'm going to, if there's somebody that's chatting something that's really, I need to like stop and do, I'll look at the WhatsApp, and otherwise, if you want my attention, you might have to speak. All right, so today we're going to talk about how to get buyer leads. And I have some observations, right? One of my observations is that 65% of all the people in the United States own a house. So what that might mean is that maybe 65% of the people that you meet either own a house or are going to own a house, right? Most people would like to own a house, and if not now, sometime in the future. Now, we can kind of figure out where the people are that don't own a house. I mean, they're living at home, they're renting, they're homeless, I don't know, right? But most people want to own a house, and most people will own a house. Now, in California, that percentage is closer to 60% or a little bit less, but it varies by zip code, whatever. The second observation I have, and this was something that I had to do a lot of research, right? And what I really meant is transactions. I just realized I left out a word. Sides involve buyers. 50% of all transaction sides involve buyers. Now, you might want to dispute this, but this is my theory, that in every closed real estate transaction, there's a buyer, right? Does anybody want to argue that, but in every closed real estate transaction, there is a buyer, which means that buyers account for 50% of all real estate transaction sides. Now, the other thing, and I left off an observation, but I'll throw it out anyhow, is that oftentimes, and this varies based upon the year and based upon the market and based upon your market and the market in your market, but oftentimes the buyer side commission is higher than the listing side, right? That is often the case, particularly when you're in a market that's a seller's market. Because what sellers are going to say is, hey, properties are selling really quickly. We really don't have to do very much. Why am I paying you all of that money when it's really easy to sell a house? And you can look in your NMLS. You don't know what the listing side is, but a lot of times agents that are competitive are listing homes for 1.5%. They're paying 2.5% to the agent who has the buyer, but maybe listing it for 1.5%. Now, if you're wondering why somebody would do that, one is to be competitive, and number two is the concept of leverage. And what I mean is that it is easier to have a lot of listings than it is to have a lot of buyers. When I was focused on my own production rather than helping my team, I had at one point I had 15 listings, right? And I played, it was racquetball. Anyhow, there's a friend, twice a week, we would meet at the gym and we would play this game, and I never missed it, right? Even though I had 15 listings, because having 15 listings is not going to kill you. 5 buyers, might do it, right? Because there's not enough time. So an agent will list and list and list and list and list. They'll cut the commission on the listing side, pay a decent one on the buyer side, and then just go get another listing. The other observation, which I didn't put here, is that particularly if you're a new agent, sometimes buyers are easier to work with than sellers, because sellers pick agents, whereas buyers pick houses. And even if this is your first transaction and you don't really know what you're doing, but you manage to eventually open up the lockbox and let the buyer in, and they decide they want to buy it, you're still going to make a deal, right? So those are my reasons why you might want to have a strategy for getting buyers. Now, I like statistics. If you've watched my videos and things like that, Most professions use data, right? And the National Association of Realtors, our union, interviews, surveys is really a more accurate word, buyers and sellers every year, and they issue a report. Now, the 22 report hasn't come out yet. But anyhow, the most recent one we had, and so this was in 2021, which would mean it was surveying people in 2020, and things were a little weird, but I've gone back to previous years, and some of these numbers haven't really changed significantly. But when they ask the buyer, how did you find your real estate agent? 47%. 47% said they were referred by or they is a friend, neighbor, or relative. 47%. 13% had used the agent before. For some reason, that 47 seems a teensy bit high, but I think that's what it is. 40%. 13% used the agent before. 7% because they saw the property online. 7% they saw it on somebody's website, but they don't remember whose. Open house or for sale sign. I put up a listing. The sign just went up. It isn't on the MLS. I got a call, right? One way to find buyers is to have listings. If you have listings, you're going to find buyers. Referred by another real estate agent or broker is 5%. Open house, 4%. Relocation company, 2%. Social media, 1% for a social media page, 1% because they knew the person on social media. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So I would go by this list in terms of, well, what am I going to do in order to find buyers? First of all, you ought to talk to the people you know and let them know you're in real estate. I understand for some of you, you might have been keeping it secret, right? You don't want them to know, you're a secret agent. But I have picked up buyers at a coffee shop because I was wearing my name badge. Today I was at lunch and a guy at lunch was asking me, he said, oh, eXp Realty, what is that? Tell me. And I noticed that he was wearing a jacket and the jacket said Eagle Ridge Golf Course. Now, those of you that are in my area might know that that is a very expensive place to live, right? It's a very expensive place to live, but he saw the thing and he started talking to me. I'm just saying, you might not want to hide. So let's talk, and I've got some other specific ideas. I'm going to show you some sample ads that you could do. How about that? As well as some strategies. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you some other agent sites and things like that. So ways of finding buyers. One of the things that you are going to want to do is work with your sphere of influence. Right? Now, I have a link. I've already put together materials on working your sphere of influence. I'm sharing it with you here. And at eXp Realty, we use software called KV Core, which is one of the top rated internet, my voice will come back to me, web page integrated customer relationship management programs. All right, and if you're an agent, and I've done this class where I go through the different types of real estate agents in terms of lead generation. There's the prospector, right? That's phone calls and door knocking. The networker, which accounts for more than 40% of the transactions. The marketer, which is somebody who's marketing an expertise in something. And then there is the converter, which is the internet lead generator. And if you've decided you want to be an internet lead generator, you really need software like KV Core. I'm just telling you. Right? Because it creates landing pages and squeeze pages where you can get buyer leads relatively easily. Right? I'm just saying. Right? And they've got what they call a playbook, which is a way of implementing, and there's a YouTube channel, video from them about how to put people into your customer relationship management system and things that you can do, right? And without being too heavy-handed. And for some of this, if you want how to export your contacts, this is part of the support I give to people that are on my team or in my sales organizations. And there's just some different ways of getting them in. Now, what you might want to think about is how many people do you have in your sphere of influence? Like, do you have a sphere of influence? And what I mean by that is, have you taken the trouble to create a database, a spreadsheet of everybody you know? And your initial goal should be to have 100 people, but you want to build it to 300. And I have some suggestions about that. And you could look them up on social media. KV Core has a way of connecting them, and LinkedIn and all that other kind of stuff. Notice I say, don't just post real estate content. We're going to talk a little bit more about social media, but hold on a second, somebody, we need to mute. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. See, sometimes I use the other program simply because that can't happen. But then there's no interaction, whatever, every up has a down. So some examples of things that you could post on social media, and we're going to talk, let's start with the don't just post real estate stuff. Right? I'm just saying. And I see real estate agents doing this. Sometimes I've actually gone to LinkedIn and Facebook and showed people examples, but then, I don't want to put people down. But let's say you've subscribed to one of these services that posts real estate crap for you on social media. Let's say you've done that. And by the way, if it sounds like I'm being kind of judgmental, I'm subscribed to one of those companies too. It looks really cool. I'm really not doing it for the postings because there's other things they give me. And in the years in which I've been using their stuff, not one lead has ever been generated. If you're posting real estate stuff on social media and no one ever likes, shares, or comments on it, you're not just wasting your time, you're actually burying yourself, because the algorithms are going to decide that your stuff is not anything that people care about. And then they're not even going to show it to as many people. I'm going to give you some examples. But if your sphere of influence, who may not think you're a real estate agent because it's not obvious knowing you, if you post occasionally real estate things, it might trigger, oh, hey, Mike's actually a real estate agent, right? And so there's just some things I put together. I'm leaving this here for you. I do other classes on sphere of influence, which is not the goal, but do you understand you really need, now I have to go back. Where's my, that's not it. So where is the, for some reason, I seem to have lost the handout. All right. Luckily, Ra has pasted it into the chat. All right. Cool. I don't know where it went. So you ought to be working your sphere of influence. If you don't have one, and you want to build your business with buyers, then open houses are my favorite choice. And I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to do it again. There's an agent that I worked with. I was her mentor many years ago. And she is now the #1 agent in the Keller Williams office that she's a member of. And when asked to speak at a recent production thing last year, she explained how she became the #1 agent. And she actually mentioned my name in that she said, all I did is what my mentor, Mike Devlin, told me to do when I was a new agent. And I had told her to do open houses every day you possibly can. Now, some people think you can only do open houses on Saturday and Sunday. That's not true. Right? If the owner is okay, if it's vacant, you can do open houses on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, on any day of the week. What's the downside? of doing a Wednesday or Friday evening open house? What's the downside? Well, no one might show up, right? But then you've got your computer and your cell phone, and I can connect to the internet with my cell phone. I bet you could too. And so there's calls that you could make, there's marketing things, you could be writing art, blog, you could be doing stuff, right? You could be doing it. What's the potential upside of doing an open house every day of the week? Well, somebody might walk in and you might meet somebody that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Now, I've included some links to a document that I put together, HOUSAS, and a video I've made on how to do the open house. But what I'd like to do is to just start off with a question I get asked a lot, which is, well, how do I find open houses to do, right? How about that? So not every one of you is using the same MLS I'm using. Many of you are using a very similar program. Many of you are using a matrix type of program. If you're in Alameda County or Contra Costa County and you're using Paragon, which also you might be using in San Diego, it'll do this. If you're in Sacramento, you're using Rapatoni, they'll all do this. And so this is my preferred method for finding open houses. Right now, first of all, what we want to do is be proactive and not passive. What I often hear is this. Now, one of the nice things about EXP is we have this thing called Workplace. And because EXP is one broker and it's not a franchise, because of that, there's more than 12,000 EXP agents in California. California agents is where I was going for. And so there's lots of referral opportunities and open house opportunities. And so this is what I often hear. An agent will say, well, I went on to Workplace and I posted in the Bay Area Workplace group, I'm available to do open houses, right? And then they wait and nothing happens. And then they might go back in a week and type in, I'm still available to do open houses. And then they wait and nothing happens. And then I hear, well, obviously this just doesn't work, right? You're not doing it right. So what I would suggest is that, let's say you wanted to do open houses in a particular geographic area, right? And I'll use an example. I'm actually in the marvelous city of Morgan Hill, California. And Brenda is asking, is there a way to find open houses on KV Core? Yes. We'll talk about that. Can you open houses? What's the other one for other brokerages? Some real estate companies have a rule, a policy, let's call it, that you shouldn't do open houses except for the broker. I am not, because this is being recorded, telling you that you should ignore your company's policy. Right? I'm not telling you that. But what I hear sometimes from realtor meetings are people saying, people being other brokers, that it is a violation of the rules of the Department of Real Estate to do an open house for another brokerage. That is absolutely not a true statement. Absolutely not. Who says that that is not a true statement? The lawyers that work for the California Association of Realtors. Is there anything in the NAR Code of Ethics that says you shouldn't do this? And the answer is no, there's nothing in the Code of Ethics. But oftentimes buried in real estate brokers' policies, usually in the national policy rather than a particular local policy or state policy, is a statement you ought to do open houses only for your broker. Now, if you are going to follow that rule, the system can be focused just on doing open houses for another broker. but I've been involved with a lot of large brokerages, and I've seen presentations by lawyers from the E&O companies that mentioned the rule was in their E&O thing someplace, and I've asked them, has there ever been a court case involving a real estate agent doing an open house for another broker? And the answer I always get is not to our knowledge. Never, not to our knowledge. And some of the attorneys, I've only talked to a few at the California Association of Realtors about this, and I've asked them, is there any particular legal problem doing an open house for another broker? And they said, not in our view. And the argument I usually hear is the listing broker says, well, my E&O doesn't cover you if you're at a different brokerage and you're doing the open house. Well, yeah, but I have E&O too through the company I'm going with. And so one of the questions I was asking the lawyer is, well, I can show another broker's listing, can't I? Yes. Could I show two buyers the listing at the same time? Sure. Could I have a bus load of buyers and drive them around to different listings and show the whole bus load of buyers at the same time the listing? And they say, well, yeah, sure. So many large real estate companies, including eXp Realty, Keller Williams, Global Banker, Compass, and some of those, in their policies have a statement that you should only do open houses for the broker. Right now, that's just up to you, right? I'm not saying ignore the company's policies. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, well, what I said, right? And if you say, well, I'm going to just follow all the rules and I'm not going to do open houses for the brokers because I don't see what the worst would probably happen is that if you were doing it and somebody found out, they would tell you to stop, right? That would probably be the end of it. And then you could stop, but I'm not telling you, I'm repeating my disclaimer, not to follow the instructions from your broker, right? I'm just saying that. So I'm going to speak somewhat generically because many brokers do not have rules about this whatsoever. And I even will be able to show you, if you only want to do open houses for a particular broker, how you could still effectively do that, right? Is that okay? Right? Any questions about that? All right, I'm just saying. So let's say I only want to do open houses. Wow, there's 144. Ooh, wow. I only want to do open houses in Morgan Hill because I'm lazy, right? And I don't want to drive to any other city, right? Now, if you're in a big area or a big city, you could create a search for whatever area you're willing to do. Now, sometimes we might say, well, I would do a townhouse or a single family home, but I don't want to do condominiums. And the reason you might not want to do condominiums is sometimes they have a gate, you need a code at the gate, and then they have so sometimes you need a helper in order to let people in, right? Because sometimes the condominiums, the public just can't walk in. It's a little more complicated, right? But if you say, well, I don't even want townhomes, I only want to do single family homes, that's fine. That's fine, right? But what I'm saying is that you might want to think about what kind of house you'd like to hold open. Now, if you're hungry, you might just say anywhere, Santa Clara County or wherever, I don't care, right? I'm willing to do an open house, which is fine, right? You might want to set up a search. Now, notice one of the options is the list date. So if I click on this, and the nice thing about Matrix, if I put in a 0 - 7, what that's going to do is show me all of the properties that have been listed in the last 7 days. Why? Because I only want to do fresh open houses. And in order for me to get more, let me just do this. I'm going to go for the county because I'm a motivated real estate agent. I want to do open houses. There's 190 listings in my county. And let's say just single family homes, there's 170 in the last 7 days. All right. Now, if I click on results, it's going to show me. Now, let me go back one more thing. Does the price matter? It might. And what I'm saying is that if the house is a $5 million house, you might be thinking, well, this is wonderful, because just think of the big fat commission check I'm going to get, right? This is wonderful. But then they're sometimes harder to get agents to let you do the open house. Sometimes the higher you go in price, the less likely the buyer is unrepresented. You understand, somebody that's looking at a $3, $4, $5 million house probably has done this before and might have a real estate agent, right? I'm just saying. So what sometimes I've done is I said, well, I want everything from 800,000 to 1.5 million, right? And that puts me down to 60. Now, your sweet spot might be different, but I might be saying, I want to target first-time home buyers. Does everybody understand? I can, by doing this, sort of target who I'm looking for, what kind of property. So I click on results. I click on results. Now, these M's mean members only, and I could have searched so that they didn't show up. But one of the things, when I'm creating an auto alert, I want to do it so that it includes members only, because it gives me something that I can share with my buyers that they can't get from Zillow. Maybe I should say that again. Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com don't display members only. So all those ones with the M's are properties that I can find in my MLS that they're not going to find in Zillow. Ooh. The other thing that I like to do is sort by the MLS number, just for fun. And the reason for that is, notice it's now starting with BE, 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 EB, and then it goes to ML. ML is the code for the MLS that I'm in. So members only, yes, Tony, you are correct. It's a popular jacket. Tony must be old too, if he remembers that. But a members only is a listing, it's a coming soon that's not available to the general public to see. Only members of the MLS can see it. In other words, these are listings that are not on Zillow. All right. So all of these codes at the top that says EB, BE, whatever, why do they have a different code than the ones that say ML? And the answer is because the listing agent is not from my MLS. They're not from my MLS. Now, sometimes it's really obvious. If it says ME, it means Metro List, which is Sacramento. Sometimes we see them that say CR, which is the California Regional MLS in Southern California. Do you understand? I know something about those properties. The listing agent is not in this area. Would that increase the likelihood that the listing agent would like some help with an open house? Would that increase the likelihood? If the listing agent is in Sacramento and they have a listing in Gilroy, do you think they want to drive and do an open house? Probably not. Now, you can modify this. So by left clicking, we could insert a column, and the column could be the listing listing office. This is what I'm looking for. So it will give me the listing office name. And if I hit apply, notice it's now put in the names of the listing office. Here's one. It's a members only. Morgan Hill. I even know where that is. eXp Realty. And if we sort, so if you're saying, well, I'm going to follow the rules, and which you should do. I'm not saying you shouldn't follow the rules. I'm going to follow all the rules. So I'm going to look for eXp listings right here. In order to make this a little bit easier, we'll do this, right? And you can see there's only one, right? Now, at this time, right? Remember, I'm only doing a search for something that's happened in the last 7 days. Is it possible that there are a lot more listings? The answer is yes, but they weren't listed in the last 7 days. Now, what you would do is in the criteria, right? Once we do this, one of the things that you could include, if I add it, which I'm not doing a class on the MLS today, right? But you might want to learn how to use the MLS. One of the things that I could add, but I haven't added, is the listing office name as a search criteria, right? I could add that, right? And so if I put in office, and I don't want co-listing office, I want the listing office name, and I add that, then that actually becomes a criteria by which I could search by. It's there someplace. So if I only wanted to do open houses for EXP agents, I could create a search that simply asks for all of the listings from my broker, right? If you're not just doing listings for your broker, but you're just doing open houses for people, and what you're going to find is that Keller Williams and Compass and Coldwell Banker are not going to want you to do open houses because, you know, they don't. But a lot of independents, right? They'll be happy to talk to you. So once I've done a search like this, and I could put in the broker, remember I mentioned that, and I go to save, I can create a new auto email. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, where do I want to be? I'll pick myself, and I would say open house opportunity, so I know what the email is about. And what I might do is when I go down here is I'm going to say, I want to know as soon as possible. So let's say I'm only going to do open houses for EXP agents, right? That's all I want to do. I only want to do open houses for Compass or whatever company you're with. That's all I want to do. So you've created that search. If you set it up so it's ASAP and you hit save, what that means is that as soon as anyone within the criteria area that you have created lists a house, and by the way, this gets updated like every 15 minutes, you're going to get an email. So rather than posting on Workplace or one of those places, hey, I'll do open houses, or going there to look for somebody posting, anybody want to do an open house? How about this? If I know immediately after they have listed the home that it's there, and I call that listing agent up and I say, hey, I see you just listed this property in Morgan Hill. It looks awesome. Do you need any help with an open house? Who's more likely to get the open house, me or the agent who's posted someplace I'm available to do open houses? You understand, you have to figure out the criteria that works for you. But my suggestion is, rather than being passive about this, call the agent and say, hey, right away, call the agent. Now, the agent might be impressed that you're on the ball, right? You're doing, you know, you're focused, you're aggressive. And if they're thinking, well, I'm going to need to find somebody to do an open house, and their cell phone rings and there you are saying, hey, do you need any help with an open house? Chances are kind of good that they're going to let you do the open house. Everybody with any questions about that, right? Don't be passive. Go get them, right? Go get them. Now, it's also possible, by the way, to export this information and create an email merge so that you could send everybody that's got a listing in the area that fits your criteria, and you want to help with an open house, right? And I'm not doing email merges. That's a different class. But open houses. Partner with loan agents. All right. Let's say you're a full-time real estate agent. I have a suggestion. Talk to 2 loan agents a day, 5 days a week, and do it for 4 weeks. I have a script. And when you call, because usually you have to call because sometimes the loan agent at the bank isn't there every day, and you call and you say, I'd like to make an appointment to talk to your loan agent. Are you? And they say, well, my name is Mike Dow. I'm a real estate agent. What is the purpose of the meeting? I would like to talk to the loan agent about working with the loan agent with buyers. That's what I'd like to talk about. Do you know that the chances of that loan agent agreeing to that, if Troy, I'm not going through all the open house things right now, but I know there's questions about, can you do this, can you do that? That's I could answer MLS questions forever. But the loan agent is really, really likely to agree to meet you. I'm just right now, do you think the loan agents are doing a lot of refis? No, they're not doing any refis. All the loans are purchase loans. The loan agent will want to meet you. If the loan agent doesn't want to meet you, you don't want to meet that loan agent. So now you've met the loan agent and you say, hi, thanks for taking the time to meet with me. I really appreciate it. The reason I reached out to you is you're with Wells Fargo, and I expect that we're going to work together in the future at some point. And I thought I'd just come in and introduce myself. And if you don't mind, maybe you could give me your perspective as what's going on in the market and how could we work together, that sort of thing. You understand, for a salesperson, this is a pretty slow pitch. And sometimes they'll talk for 5 minutes and sometimes they'll talk for 50 minutes. And I used to do this thing where I'd bring them donuts and stuff like that, because we always have the loan agents bring us stuff whenever we do anything. But you know, that's just sort of like a window dressing. But you go there and they'll talk about the market. And what you want to know is, do they have any niche products, which are sometimes called portfolio loans, which are loans that they don't sell, but they're the loans they're proud of. And what you're going to find by doing this is that different lenders have different kinds of loans for different kinds of buyers, which, by the way, if you're working with buyers, would be a really good thing to know. It'd be a really good thing to know. Because some of the loan agents are going to say, well, we don't do, if they've got bad credit, don't send them to me. But if they got a big down payment, I got the best loans available for that, right? Some will say, I got great loans for people with bad credit, right? You'll start to learn what they are. And then at the end, after they've talked a little bit, you say, that was really wonderful. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. By the way, I assume that from time to time, you're helping somebody get a loan and they don't have a realtor yet. And I'd love to work with you with those prospects. Right? Now, sometimes they're going to say, my husband's an agent, my wife's an agent, my brother's an agent, my son's an agent, my daughter's an agent, my sister's an agent, my best friend's an agent. Fine, go to another lender. That's why we're doing 2 a day, 5 days a week for 4 weeks. Sometimes they're going to say, well, how about this? You give me a lead and I'll give you a lead. At which point I always say, that seems fair. Do you like doing open houses? And most loan agents are going to say, well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. They have a better chance of picking up a client than you do at an open house. Plus, wouldn't it be nice to have another licensed adult there with you that can answer financing questions? And if you see them picking up clients at your open house, you've given them a lead. You've given them a lead. And then the other thing they say, well, I've already, I don't have any right now. I say, yeah, I understand that. You don't have any sitting on your desk, but I'll bet last year and the year before, you might have given some leads to other real estate agents. And those leads have not come back and gotten a loan from you. I'll bet that's a possibility, right? And so why don't you give me those and let me follow up and see if they're still in the market, or if there's any way I could salvage it? Why not? Why not? I took an agent, because she wanted help, to Chase Bank. And we're, the guy who's meeting with us, and I start doing my pitch, and he's nodding, and he says, stop. He says, stop. I get it. You're here looking for, leads for referrals. And I said, yeah, that's why we're here. And he said, you're smart. He said, I do about 20 purchase loans a month. And occasionally somebody says, do you have they don't have an agent, and do I have anybody to refer them to? And I don't have anyone to refer them to. All right. Then I said to him, how about mortgage dates? Now, that may not be a term you've heard of, but he had, because he winced when I said it. And a mortgage day is a day at the bank. Banks, you understand, have walk-in traffic, right? And so a mortgage day is a day at the bank where they put up balloons and they have bottled water and they have like a table and they talk to the people that walk in about loans, and they usually invite a real estate agent to partner with them. And he said, yeah, I'm supposed to be doing them. I'm not doing them. It's in my budget and everything. And I said, how about home buying seminars? And he said, yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing them. I haven't been doing them. It's in the budget and everything. It's in his budget. He's got a budget to do home buying seminars and mortgage days. He's just not doing them. You understand, if you talk to 2 loan agents a day, 5 days a week for 4 weeks, do you think you might run across 1 or 2 that would be interested in doing some of those things with you? And I like credit unions. And before COVID, I understand I'm trying to get credit unions to start doing this again, but I did a home buying seminar in Cupertino at Key Point Credit Union at the end of 2019, and there were over 90 people that showed up, because Key Point Credit Union is Apple's credit union, and Apple happened to be right down the street, and they invited everybody. So partnering with loan agents. New home subdivisions is a topic that I'm going to cover. I actually have a presentation. Right now, the new home subdivisions are interested in us again. They weren't for a long time. And what I have, this is something, it's called a 135, is next week I'm going to be doing a session on goal setting and planning for 2023. But the 3 areas that we would focus on with new home subdivision is learning about the new home subdivisions in your area, get a marketing plan and a presentation. I have a sample, and then to implement it. And one of the things I was going to show you is this is a course in EXP agent. Sumin Kim, he's in Austin, Texas. And I've got special analytics programs, which I don't, notice he's got, let's just watch for a second.
Hey, this is Sumin Kim, your Austin real estate agent, and today I am here in Leander in the community of Bryson, the very desirable and popular community of Bryson, one that I've highlighted earlier in my channel. And it's been some time, but they finally have new lots that have been cleared, and we're going to be taking a look at the most popular building here in the Bryson community, and that is Perry Homes. Behind me is the ever popular, quintessential, perhaps the most popular single-story floor plan, not just with Perry, but really all of Austin. And it's really due to this model. And the reason I'm showing it to you now is because lots are.
So he's got 15,000.1 subscribers to his YouTube channel. I have a relatively popular YouTube channel, but I'm a punk, right? I got like 2,200 subscribers, but I'm more aimed at real estate agents. And these are my analytics. This had 1,000 views in the last 6 days. 1,000 views in the last 6 days. So he also has another channel that only has 1 good video on it, explaining how he does this. And what he does is he just shows up at the new home subdivision, and he walks in and he says hi, and he's got camera people sometimes. And he says, hi, I'm a real estate agent. I'm just going to take some videos for my out of area clients. And he just starts walking towards the models, right? No one's ever stopped him, he says. No one's ever said, what do you mean? Who are you? Why are you here? You can't do it. He just goes and does it. Walks through the models, makes a video. You can see this one goes on for 15 minutes. He's taking pictures of the inside. So are there new home builders in your area? Are there? And he's got, tips, leaving California, top reasons for moving to Leander, right? Buyers for Leander. But notice these are all new home builders. And he goes and takes videos and he posts them on his YouTube channel. Now, I had an agent that I was coaching elsewhere, let's just say. And geographically, there were new homes in Hollister and Gilroy, which are less expensive areas near where I am. And so she went and she thought this was a plan I gave her. She used the presentation I made. She went and talked to every new home builder in those areas. She took pictures. She got copies of all their marketing material. She asked about upgrades. And then she started running ads. She was boosting them. She was paying for the ads of the new home subdivisions in the area where people would move from. Right, because you could buy at that time a 4-bedroom for $700,000 in Hollister when it cost 1.7 in Santa Clara. And she actually got a listing because some guy had a condominium and in Santa Clara that was worth more than the 4-bedroom home he bought in Hollister. Right. And so she listed and sold it. And when people would call her and ask her questions, she knew all the new home builders. She knew what their plans were. She knew what was going on. They wanted to meet her. Now, you might be, how would you like to have a new home website? How many of you would like that? Right. That you can share with people, branded to you and all of that. And the answer is, how would you get one? The answer is, you already have one. Most real estate agents don't know it, right? Most agents don't know it. What is he talking about? This is my MLS, and there's a button on your MLS like it, and it's called New Home Source Pro. And when I click on that, it's going to, I'm confirm details. Whatever. I didn't. Now it wants me to why. Okay. How about EXP Realty? How about that? I'm just I haven't logged in a bit. And so it's asking me questions. All right, whatever. So confirm a valid zip code. Okay, are you happy now? Okay. So this is, notice it says, Michael, my showing new home site, and I'm previewing it. Here's the link, right? My name, my logo, I need to add EXPs. It does say EXP at the bottom. And essentially, here are all of the new homes, well, actually everywhere in the United States. Everywhere in the United States. Now, who's doing this? The new home builders. And if somebody were to do a search, and usually they do it within a radius. If somebody were to do a search, new homes, oh, this one looks nice. This is a cheap little starter home in my community, 3,174,000. Yeah, right. 5.5 looks like a beautiful thing. Notice it's got my phone number. Notice that, my phone number. Somebody fills it out, the lead goes to me. The lead goes to me, right? Lead goes to me. Now, there's actually another site that isn't entirely free called New Home Ambassador, and it has a blog built into it and other things. It's a little bit more robust. The other thing I've learned with this site is that if I actually put a client in, which I'm able to do, and I see where it says clients, and they're interested in a new home in Modesto, and I put them in as a client and I'm sending them listings, they also get notified at the new home builder in Modesto, and I get an email saying, thank you for registering your clients with us, registering the clients, because I put them into the new home builder database. Anyhow, you've got one, right? You've got one. And by the way, they have widgets that you can put. You just have to memorize that. But it looks like this. You can put it in a other website. You can do other things. So I've embedded them in Google sites and other sites as a new home widget where people can do a search. And again, it goes to my page and all that other kind of stuff. All right. So that is, and by the way, they weren't talking to us at the new home builders because they didn't need to, but now the new home builders are back inviting us, wanting to work with us. It's a referral. I'm just saying, right? Go make videos. Now you've got something. These are usually not in the MLS. Home buying seminars, I sort of talk about that, right, a little bit. You're the reason why you're talking to all those renters, to all those lenders, is you're also looking for somebody that's willing to partner with you. And the thing about credit unions is that if they work at a branch in particular, they can invite the branch, which is good. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, they only can put up flyers at the branch. Hardly anyone ever shows up. But mortgage companies and some loan agents right now, many of them will co-market with you. And you could promote it to your sphere of influence. You could do it live in Zoom, a combination of live and Zoom. You can buy lists of renters. The title company can give you future homeowners, is what it's called, every non-owner occupied house, condo, townhouse in your area. You also could advertise online. If you're running a Facebook ad, you can pick people that have liked in their Facebook profile, Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com. That doesn't mean they're a buyer, but I'm just saying, right? And so here are just some of the different areas you could be doing it. There are hashtags, which if you don't know what a hashtag is, Google search it. There are hashtags there where for Instagram, you could look for marriage and engagements for people that you could invest in social media ads, right? I'm going through the list. You could write a blog. One of the blog articles that I was getting a lot of movement with is in my market, I took a typical house in Santa Clara, which is a city as well as a county, but it was the city, a 60-year-plus old 4-bedroom house, and I had a picture of it. And the price, by the way, was almost $2 million. And then I had a picture of another house that was in an area called Blossom Valley, which is not the most expensive area of San Jose. Again, built in the 1960s, 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, kind of looked like the one in Santa Clara. And it was $120,000 to $150,000 less. And then I had one in Gilroy that was $200,000 less, and one in Hollister that was $400,000 less, and they all looked like the same houses. And people would call me up and ask about it. You could send postcards. Many of the lenders have samples, usually a strong call to action, park bench, pay-per-click ads. All right, pay-per-click ads. So we use KV Core, right? And it's just logged me out. Thank you very much, KV Core. Thank you very much. And what I have found, and from my business associates, if you go to Marketplace in KV Core, they have seller leads, but some of the things that I have found work well is it's called Making It Rain, and it's here someplace, Making It Rain. And I'm not seeing it right away. Here it is, Making It Rain, lead generation powered by eXp Realty, Google pay-per-click, Facebook pay-per-click. This requires an investment, but they've already got all of this worked out. There's landing pages and squeeze pages. And if you want help, if you're in my group and you want help, let me know. But let me just show you Inside Real Estate, which is the company that powers our CRM website, has a YouTube channel. And notice I went to the channel and I typed in buyer. Fuel your business with fresh buyer prospects in KV Core. Generating cash buyer leads. Wouldn't that be nice? Launch KV Core's Get Buyer Listing Inventory. You can see some of them are repeating, but this is a short 51-minute video on how to use the CRM that you're getting at eXp in order to generate buyer leads. right? 51 minutes, and they have examples. So we create landing pages. I've done some where it was finding out about down payment assistance programs in the area. They have to fill out a form. Open houses, properties that have a price drop, new homes, right? All of those sort of things. We can create a landing page, which is a page where they have to give us their information, and then we could send them new home listings using that other system or those that are in the MLS, right? I'm just saying, right? And let me give you another, this is the easy, cheap way, right? Easy, cheap way. And the easy, cheap way is what you might want to do as an agent is look through your MLS on your website, right? Look, and because of the IDX, the Internet Data Exchange, you're limited to just your MLS, but you would be looking, and here's what we're looking for. What is the most expensive home in your market, right? And when so we find it, we find it, the most expensive home. And if I were to, I didn't type in San Jose, but I didn't do it. I could pick days on website, but I'm going to start with highest price just for fun, right? And so here we have a nice little house in Santa Clara County for 53.9 million. Yeah. So what I would do is I would click on this, I would open it up, like this is on my website. And then you'll notice share on Pinterest, share on Twitter, share on Facebook. And if you want to share it on LinkedIn, whatever, I would just click on the share on Facebook. And now it's launching Facebook. And I usually type in something snarky, like great for the first time home buyer, right? And then I'd make a funny face. And people would, I mean, this is the most expensive house in Santa Clara County. I also would pick the least expensive house in my county. I also would look at what is the median price of a house in Santa Clara County, and the post would be, see what the median house in Santa Clara County looks like, right? See what it looks like. And you could do a search, so it's a string. When what I mean by that is that if I went back and I did a search string, so the filter would be, let me just say, I want it to be San Jose. I only want single family. I want it to be 4 bedrooms. And I want the price to be, let's just see, is there anything in my county that's 4 bedrooms that is under $1 million? Now, you might be thinking, of course there are, right? By the way, I could pick new homes. I could pick a lot of different things. So what do I have? There are 8 4-bedroom homes, single family homes in San Jose, under $1 million. So this string up here, that long URL, is a static link to dynamic information. Static link. In other words, 6 months from now, this is going to show me all of the 4-bedroom San Jose under $1 million, right? And if there's listings that are added, and it'll always change. So what I would do is I would post 4-bedroom San Jose single family home under $1 million. All right, post that. People click on it, they see not a home, but a search result. Because I already see, if you look at, you're getting the idea. Right? We don't just, so we're doing something a little bit more, I don't know, innovative than hiring a company to post generic real estate stuff. One of my Padawans, she watched me do this some years ago. And so she's also in Morgan Hill. So she would every day just look at all the listings in Morgan Hill on her website. And there is a restaurant brewery that went on the market, right? And so she clicked on it, looked at it, took the link, and she went to Facebook. And she said, hey, the name of the brewery, it's called El Toro, is for sale. The building is for sale. And so she said that, by the way, every agent would do. But then she said, what do you guys think would be a great restaurant to replace it? She's from Brooklyn. So she said, I'm voting for a New York style pizza place. And then other people in Facebook were saying, well, we could use a good Italian restaurant. How about another brewery? Back and forth, back and forth. That interaction, do you understand when Facebook sees that people are liking, commenting, and sharing on your post, then Facebook says, ooh, this isn't crap. Right? People like this stuff, and then they start to show it to more people. Eventually, the local newspaper, the Morgan Hill Times, noticed the interaction. They wrote an article about this restaurant being for sale, and in the article, the link to the listing was to her website. That's what they posted on their webpage. Her link to her website. And a week later, she gets a call from an investor saying, I'm looking to buy commercial property in the area. What can you tell me about it? You understand that's a little bit more innovative, right? Look for something that's a property. Remember, one of my suggestions is a property of the week. All right, I know I'm running too long, but I could go on. Paper affinity programs, EXP has some, but what an affinity, I have a deal with Key Point Credit Union, where if their members use me to represent them when they buy a home, they get a 20% credit from my commission. Right? That's a type of an affinity program. It's an affiliate program because I made a deal with them. And by the way, if you went to Key Point Credit Union's website and you looked around, you're eventually going to see they have my contact information on their website. How many lenders have your contact information on their website? I'm just saying, right? So any kind of a membership organization, you say, hey, I'll give you a discount, I'll give you a deal, I'm going to help. Referrals, notice I haven't talked about buying leads yet from Zillow or any of those. Notice I haven't gotten to them. If you want to do that, you could go ahead. But there's a lot of referral companies and things like that. If they don't charge you a monthly fee and they only charge when you close, why not? I don't see a lot of that producing results. But I believe that if you get out and you make deals with like a teachers association or a hospital or something like that, and you do something with them, this is an affinity type program, and you do something with them, and you get a lender partner to come in and talk about loans, and you talk about the process of buying a home, and you offer them a rebate or something, a credit when they buy a home. I'm just saying, right? So we could go on. I'm not going to because I'm probably losing people already, but we could go on. But there are a lot of ways to meet buyers. And when we talk about next week, I'm going to talk about business planning and all that. What you ought to do is pick at least 3 and a maximum of 5 things that you're going to do to get buyers. At least 3, a maximum of 5. And another company I worked with where they were very good at data, and they had a bunch of agents that were doing $1 million or more in commissions, gross commission, right? To be in this group, you had to have at least $1 million in gross commissions. And what they found is that the average millionaire commission agent had on average 12 lead generation systems running at any one time, 12. But 80% of the business came from 3. Everybody hear that? Right? They might have had 12, but 80% of their business was coming from 3. Start by finding your 3. All right. And anyhow, and then you need a buyer consultation, right? Which I did recently. There's buyer representation agreement. You need a good CRM and follow-up system. And if you don't have one, but you would like one, reach out to me. We've got a great one. Any questions? let's see, there's a lot of chat. Who do you ask for at the lender or the credit union to start an affinity program? We would call the marketing person, the manager of the credit union, and make an appointment. And I never had one not make an appointment. And I mean, because they were in sales too, and I would call them up and we would go in and basically explain what was going on, that we had this program, and that, you know, if we work with your members, right, we're going to work together, right? And if we work with your members, we're going to give your members a credit. Now, the difference between credit unions and Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Chase is that credit unions are all about the members, and they actually cooperate with each other, not like Bank of America and Wells Fargo don't cooperate with each other very much. And so they like it if you explain how you're going to help them. And by the way, a good affinity program would also include discounts on things like moving expenses and all sorts of things like that, right? Moving expenses and that sort of thing. And so what anybody can join a credit union. You're going to have difficulty doing what I did at that particular credit union because there's only 2 of us that are in it. But I'm just saying there are a lot of credit unions, right? But anybody can join the credit union. And I wasn't a member of the credit union when I went and pitched this, right? But you have to come from the point of view is how this is going to help the members. And so when I would talk to a moving company, right? Local moving companies, local handyman companies, local. And what I would say to them when they would give me their business card, I would say, oh, wow, that's great. You're a local moving company. By the way, I work with, I worked with Merrill West Credit Union and Golden One Credit Union. And I worked with a bunch of, not just 1 or 2, right? Because I was doing this. And I would say to the movie company, well, you know, that's great. I work with Key Point Credit Union. I don't know if you know them. That's Apple's credit union. Google uses them, Cisco, their credit union. And one of the things we do is we have a list of preferred vendors, the preferred vendors that we give to the members of the credit union. And these are vendors that are willing to give some sort of a discount or credit for people to use them. Would you like to be a participant? Would you like your company listed as a preferred vendor for the credit union that Google and Apple use? The guy didn't even let me finish before he was saying yes and telling me how much of a discount he'd give. Right? Wouldn't even let me finish. Do you understand? These things all start to tie together. You do open houses, you have leverage with lenders. If you're working with vendors, which if you've watched my videos, I'm big on landscapers and all the different vendors. Now you could get them to give coupons or discounts if you have membership, which is the affinity program with different organizations. Of course they want to join it. Of course they want to participate. And now you're doing something to help them, which means they might be more willing to do something to help you. I could go on for a long time about this, but our time is up, right? And if you're wanting to, I've done these things. If you are wanting some help and you're in my team, on my group, that sort of thing. One final thing, and I know that I saw Khalid was here. Let's say you're an experienced agent at EXP and you've got some business, right? You've been doing some stuff. EXP has this program, I have to do is find it, called Revenues. And it's a referral engine. They don't give leads to new agents, but we have contracts with all the major relocation companies. We have contracts with all of the asset managers of the bank-owned properties. We run ads. This is more of a seller one for cash buyers. The affinity program, EXP has an affinity program as well. And you have to take a training and become certified. I'm certified. Certifiable. Making It Rain is our pay-per-click ads, and if you're near the military, we have EXP Honors. And if the thing about these programs, if you're a brand new agent and you've never sold a house, the relocation company is not going to give you a client. I'm just saying, right? They won't give you a client. But let's say you're an experienced agent. You've got some good Zillow reviews and things like that. You've been around. You would then be eligible. And this is a really powerful thing. And I was at EXPCon in Las Vegas talking to other Icon agents, and people are getting business. 4 or 5 clients, they're closing transactions because they're participating in this program. All right. I'm just saying, you haven't, and for those of you, I realized I wasn't, this is a website that we have here at EXP called Revenos, and relocation, bank-owned properties, affinity programs, all these different things. If you're an experienced agent, sign up, get leads. All right, enough. Thank you, everybody. You've worn me out. I don't have any more things to say.
Thank you.
Have a great day.